Great to be out here today. I want to say thank you to all of our fans. It was a great crowd. Just another reminder of how special it is to play and coach at Marquette. We are 9 practice days in to our preseason practice segment of the year. 30 days out from the first game, November 4th. And so it kind of, the mind plays tricks on you because at the same time it can feel like a long way away, but also it's coming quick. And we've already had 9 practice days. We get 30 in 6 weeks to prepare. So it's going really fast. We have a closed scrimmage coming up in a week. I guess I'm not allowed to talk about, but it goes fast. And we're really thankful to our fans and to our administration for allowing us to do this every year, where we can come out here. Believe it or not, this is a significant step for our team and our players to play a scrimmage in front of our fans with officials. It's just a different dynamic than practice. I thought today both teams did some really good things. Both teams succumbed to fatigue at different times. We're still working to build our competitive stamina. I thought Gold had a lot more of that today than Blue. And interestingly enough, that was augmented by a redshirt who just found a good spot on the floor to be and dunked the ball a lot. It's amazing what an EGB a lob dunk is. Cam Jones was terrific with a double-double in 28 minutes. He's been passing the heck out of the ball since we started this school year, and that's something that we're going to need from him. We had 3 guys that were out today. Sean, obviously, still recovering from his surgery. He's making good progress. Don't have an exact date on when he'll be back, but we're hopeful that it is sometime early in the season. Demarius Owens has been out for a little while with a groin injury. Knock on wood, he should be back to practice Monday. And then Trey Norman banged into Stevie a couple days ago. They had a heck of a collision. It was like 2 freight trains running into each other. And Trey got the worst of it with his shoulder. But he should be back soon as well.
With Cam in the passing, obviously, Tyler's going to be gone. There's a large gap in the assist there. Do you think it was something that you said to him, another coach said to him, or just he knew himself that being a playmaker or being a ball handler, he was going to have to use that to his advantage?
It's been a constant dialogue since the end of last season for Cam. It's interesting because, people tend to simplify, and so Cam's thought of by a lot of people outside of our program as a scorer or as a shooter, but we believe he did a heck of a job last year in a 6-game segment where Tyler was out, and he stepped in, he passed the ball well, he managed the team well. But we knew this offseason that there was room for growth there, and I think that Cam did a really good job being intentional. We have a specific workout called the Passes We Make, and Cam really bought into that, and he did that workout several times a week. It's hook passes to the corner, it's kick-aheads, it's throwback passes, it's drop downs to the big, it's lobs, and those are the same passes that he's making right now in today's scrimmage and in practice. So excited about his growth, and obviously just like with Tyler, it's kind of a 2-step approach. We got to make the right pass, and then we got to finish the play.
With those injuries, you kind of had to run out some funky lineups, some multiple big lineups.
Yeah.
Was there anyone who stood out in a more unusual role that you weren't expecting?
Well, Josh, I wouldn't expect for him to be one of the leading scorers. But the Gold team was struggling to score because we had unique lineups out there. We have Josh, Ben, and Royce all in there together, which isn't necessarily how you would draw it up, although Royce and Ben do have versatility and they have shooting. So made the adjustment at halftime, said, hey, Josh, you just stay down here in the dunker spot, and the other 4 guys can play out on the floor off of each other. That allowed Cam to have more space, Chase to have more space, get downhill, and we were able to find Josh for those dunks. So that was a pleasant surprise for him to get on the rim so much. I thought Royce and Ben playing together, they've been good in practice together, but normally they don't have another 7-footer out there with them. So thought they did some good things. The Blue team early on defensively had some phenomenal possessions. being disruptive. But 3 out of our 5 guards did not play today, so that led to a little bit of sloppiness early.
What can you say about the strides Royce has been making in the last couple of months and through practice?
Royce is a real worker. I mean, he's very, very diligent. He's up there, I would say, top 3 or 5 on our team in terms of time spent in this building, working on his game outside of practice. He loves to get in the gym extra. He wants to know why, and that's a really important attribute for a young player, that it's not just, hey, tell me what to do. It's let me really understand why we're doing what we're doing. He's building relationships with his teammates. That's as important as anything for a freshman. You got to gain trust, and then you've got to learn to trust other guys, and that happens quick. But I would say since we started summer school, he's made as much progress as anyone on our team, and he's a guy who's put himself in position as he keeps getting better. He's going to be able to put the ball in the basket if we can put him in the right spots out there on the floor.
Do you kind of see more of a big rotation, if you will, for you, with Royce, Caden, and Ben in that sense? Like, do you expect them to all be able to contribute all season?
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to need all those guys to contribute. They all do different things. Ben's obviously the furthest along because the other ones have not played in real games yet. Caden has been very, very good. I was happy for him today that he had some good moments, because if you remember when we had an open practice on August 1st, he didn't really get much done, and he had like 7 turnovers, so that was a tough day for him. Caden, his number one thing is believing in himself and letting go of past mistakes. You're not going to play perfect. The way we play that position has the ball a lot, so you're going to have a turnover or two. You got to move on to the next thing. I thought today Blue was at their best when they played through him and when guys were cutting off of him. He just has a physicality that's really going to help our team. And then, as you said, Royce is versatile. He can play multiple positions. So is Ben. So we're going to need all those guys to play.
In what ways is Zayd more comfortable this season than he was last season?
Well, I thought Zayd, showed some glimpses today, but he can be way better. My expectations for him are through the roof, because this guy's in the top 0.1% of players in terms of the way he moves around the floor. He can really, really move. He has an understanding of, okay, when I go all out, it changes things. And now it's about building the habit to go all out all the time. He is building toughness. He's building mental toughness. He's building competitive stamina to do it again and again and again. He's just not there yet. But I think he's much further along than he was last year at this time. I think he's in a position where November 4th, he can go in the game and feel good about his opportunity to contribute and help our team on day 1 of the season. And then we just got to keep getting better in terms of extending minutes and extending his effort over time.
I don't know if we asked you about Joplin last time we talked to you. What did you want him to do this summer, and how have you seen him kind of grow heading into this season?
Well, we've been on Jop. I mean, Jop, he has a lot of potential. And usually that's something that's said about young players. He's a senior. But he has the potential to be more and to be better. And our job is to push him and to help him pull that out of himself. Last week, he was the domino of the week in practice, meaning basically in the players' eyes, he was the best player in practice in terms of affecting winning. And that's because he gave everything he had for the most part. Now, there's always more, but, we have a simple philosophy with him. You guys ever eat wings?
Yeah.
So you're with your buddies, you're watching football, you're hanging out, you're eating wings. And you ever eat wings with that guy and he leaves like half the meat on the wing and then he goes on to the next one? All right, and then you also have that guy in your friend group that you eat wings with, and he cleans everything off that wing. I mean, even the cartilage, everything, he's damn near eating the bone, okay? That's Jop's senior season that we need it to be. We need to get every piece of meat off of that chicken wing if that's his senior year. And that's been our emphasis with him. I'm literally, if you walk in my office, there's a picture of some wings, all right? But that's a visual we use with him, and it's very simple. One simple filter. Did you give all you have on that play? If not, then we got to have more.
You did the climber last year in the summer. Did you have more players do it this year?
Yes, our whole team did the Versa Climber this summer. Not to the extent that Jop did last summer, but our whole team was on the Versa Climber multiple days in the summer with Todd. And that's something that I've learned personally from going through that program, it builds an internal belief and understanding that you have more in that motor, even when you don't feel like you do. And so that was good for those guys, and I got a feeling that the Versa Climber is not going to get put away for the season.
We just talked to Jack. I know he's not on scholarship, but with the NCAA expanding rosters next season, do you foresee like a lot of Division II guys getting more opportunities to play at a higher level?
Well, they already are. I mean, if you look around the country, there's a lot of guys from non-Division I that have been standouts that have transferred to Division I spots. Obviously, we took Zach Reitzel a couple of years ago. He was Player of the Year in NAIA. Jack was a unique situation because he wants to get into coaching, and he had played for a friend in Nevada's, and he was looking around, and I think he averaged like 20 points a game last year for a spot where he could go and play, but then eventually transition to an opportunity to get into coaching. And that's really a compliment to our program that someone would want to come here and be a part of it to develop and make it a career as a coach. I love the guy. I mean, he's one of those guys that he's 100% bought into team. He's not caught up in himself at all. He's had a lot of individual success as a player, but he's coming in here like, how do I make the guys around me better? And man, he shoots the mess out of the ball. So we can put him in little situations like we did today. And if he gets an open look, it's a pretty good bet it's going in.
Did Stevie spend some time with Cam and finishing at the rim with some of the finishes he had today? And is that
well? Statistically, Stevie over the last couple of years has been one of the best guard finishers in the country, and so both those guys, they spend a lot of time on it. Something they take pride in. Stevie's a guy that how much energy he brings to the game, but make no mistake about it, he's got a lot of ball skills too, and he's going to be someone that we're depending on even more than last year because Oso and Tyler aren't here.
Good.
Well,
Thanks,
Coach,
guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jack and Chase, they both dropped a little culture on us and dropped the word goon. Can you just expand on that and what that means?
Well, yeah, and we want to be careful with that because you look up goon in the dictionary, it's not necessarily the most positive definition, but we do feel like losing two NBA players who were such savants out there offensively that our team, we have to have even another level of toughness and aggressiveness and grittiness on the defensive end than we had last year and we've had previous years. And so, I guess I'm getting up there, but for the young folks, goon is a term that these guys use. They're talking about football players and defensive ends and linebackers and, some of the toughest guys in basketball. They're guys that are gritty and tough, get their hands on the basketball, don't mind getting, dirt under their fingernails and just play with a level of aggressiveness and toughness and nastiness. This is not to be confused with John Chaney's Goon Gate from several years ago. It's not about fighting or it's not about anything dirty. It's just about having a level of toughness and compassion and honestly a defensive identity when you take the floor. And it's interesting that you mentioned that Cam said that because sometimes that's the hardest for the best offensive players. Because let's be honest, when you pick up your phone and you open up social media, that's where you get most of your feedback if you're a great shooter or a great scorer. But the bottom line is to be a championship level team, you got to have guys with that level of toughness and grittiness. Thank you guys.
Thank you.